This video will explain how to use NearPod.com. NearPod is a website and an app that is full of interactive lessons teachers can use for instruction. They have over 8,500 standard aligned lessons. You can think of it as a lesson library that is connected to every teacher on the platform. It allows lessons to quickly and easily be shared. Teachers can create their own lessons and upload them to NearPod. In some ways it's like YouTube, but designed for interactive lessons. These lessons are delivered in video or slide form. NearPod integrates with the Google Apps for Education, including Google Classroom, Google Slides and Google Docs. Now, this homepage is also referred to as My Library, and that's where your personal lessons are going to live after you selected them from the lesson library. If you're brand new, this whole section probably will be empty. Over here on the left, you will see reports and subplans under My Materials. Reports will allow you to see how students are doing on the lessons you have assigned. Subplans is an area where you can easily create lesson plans with NearPod lessons and send them via email. Going to be out on Tuesday? Create a plan here and send it to your substitute. Coming down to shared libraries, you can see where it says School Library and District Library. These links will let you see lessons that have been selected for use by others in your school or district. Below that, the NearPod library contains all of the lessons available. You can search for lessons by standard, subject, grade, and resource type. NearPod has made it easier to find content by pre-selecting professionally made content with these links here. We have lessons for English learners. NearPod Labs. This one is for professional development. Digital citizenship and literacy. This even covers some basics, like how to use the keyboard and coding. Here is social emotional learning content, like the growth mindset. And if your district has subscribed to Flocabulary, there will be lesson content that goes with Flocabulary.com. Finally, there is the resources area, down here at the bottom. This takes you to webinars that you can view to learn more about NearPod. Okay, let's look at a lesson. I'm going to the NearPod library, clicking second grade. And I'd like to find a warm-up. So under resource type, I'll select warm-ups. Okay, here is an icebreaker, so let's select that. I can see that this lesson has 9 slides. Let's preview it. Here are the materials needed. It looks like in this lesson students need to think of objects that begin with the same letter as their last name and the last name of their neighbor. They will then have to find or draw a picture of those objects and combine them. I can see that this lesson will work well in a live setting, but I'd have to edit the lesson quite a bit for distance or self-paced learning. So let's look at some related content. Over here in related content is another icebreaker. Would you rather? Elementary. Let's preview it. Okay, this icebreaker could be good for a lesson on persuasive writing. First, students will take a poll on the kind of superpower they'd like to have. It looks like there are a few polls here, in order to give students a number of opinion choices. On slide 4, it can be difficult to have students discuss their thinking when distance learning. Yes, it can be done using breakout rooms, but going back and forth between platforms is not easy. So I'd like this lesson to be done individually and asynchronously. I will likely edit this slide. This lesson introduces students to a few opinions for the use of polls. We can have students pick one of their answers to one of these polls and have them write about why they have this opinion. We can make this work for online learning. So let's choose this one by clicking the Add to My Library button. This lesson should also give interesting poll results that you can choose to share with the class later. It's added. Now, I can click Show in My Library, or I can simply go back to the NearPod homepage by clicking on the NearPod logo at the top left here. Both ways take you to My Library. Hovering over this lesson, we can see live participation or student paste. We can also edit the lesson. Here I will press Edit. I'm going to remove the slides that require partners and delete a couple of these polls. You can also edit these slides with the Google Slides add-on. That can be covered in a different video. So, if I click on Add Slide, here, you can see I have many choices for types of slides that I may want to create. Going to Activities gives me even more options. As you can see, NearPod can be a very powerful tool. You can spend a lot of time creating your own lessons. I often end up selecting a pre-made lesson, and then tailoring it to fit my needs. Okay, so let's say we are happy with this lesson. Press Save and Exit. Let's see how to assign the lesson. Hover over it. I'm selecting Student Pace this time. Here is the join code. Students can go to join.nearpod.com, or the app, and enter this code to join the lesson. You can also assign the lesson through all of these different ways. I normally either put a link in Schoology or ClassDojo, or I assign it in Google Classroom. Students will complete the assignment, and you can see the results of the polls and reports. If you prefer to create lessons entirely on your own, you can use the New button. If you are only setting up one open-ended question, drawing area, timer, or collaborate board, you can use Quick Launch. Collaborate boards are useful. You can quick launch them, or have them as a slide in your lessons. The Collaborate board provides an area where all students can share ideas. Students can post here, and can see posts left by others. One tip, it's good to set this up so that the teacher approves all posts before they are added to the board. This can be done in Settings. Let's look at Settings now. Click this profile image on the top right. These buttons are pretty self-explanatory, except Lesson Settings, so let's click that. Now you can see that this screen is also called Advanced. Here you can customize what functions you want students to have access to. You can easily turn these functions on or off. Functions include Immersive Reader, which will add a button to your slides to have Microsoft's Immersive Reader read the content to students. Student Notes provides space on the side of lessons for notes to be taken. Notes can then be saved, or students can even have them sent to their email address. This button here, Show Quiz and Multiple Choice and Question Results in Student Paste Mode, will allow students to see their graded quiz and change their answers. So be careful with this one. This button allows students to resubmit answers in live participation mode. As a teacher, you will only see their most recent answer. I like using this next feature. Enable Collaborate Board for self-paced lessons. This function works a lot like Padlet.com. It allows for an area where students can post text and images. Other students can see the posts that students have already completed. I strongly recommend that if you enable this, you choose the option to pre-approve posts before they can be added to the board. As a student goes through the lesson, they may come to questions, polls, quizzes, and even drawing activities. If you click Require Student Submissions, you can require students to complete these tasks in order to complete the lesson. And that's it. Now you know the basics of using NearPod. Before we end, let's have a quick look at our lesson from the student's view. We will type join.nearpod.com, then enter our code. Here it asks for my name, and our lesson starts as a slideshow. I can answer the polls. I think the ability to pause time would be neat. Let's go with super strength. And that's it. I could have added many other functions, like poll results, a collaborative board, or even the ability for students to write their opinions with explanations. But I wanted to keep this presentation short and simple. If you found this lesson helpful, please click like. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Thank you and have a wonderful day.